You might even meet some interesting people, maybe even a love connection. Available at the Dave Cave or by phone. Who knows what will happen when you wear your new gear from KSCO. KSCO is not responsible for anything that happens to you while wearing this gear.
Hi, registered pharmacist Ben Fuchs here. I've been studying healthy bodies for 35 years. And what I've got to tell you may shock and surprise you, but if you listen up, it may change your life. High blood pressure or hypertension represents the body's attempts to get us out of a jam. To the body, emergencies represent the need to get away from a situation by moving the body, i.e. running. This requires the rerouting of blood and its associated oxygen and nutrients from the extremities to the muscles, closing down the circulatory system at the extremities, creating the phenomena called hypertension. The shunting and redirecting of blood flow is a function that is energized by the sympathetic nervous system that also activates the biology that causes constipation and other digestive issues, skin and immune diseases, infertility, anxiety, insomnia, rapid pulse, and blood clotting, all associated with what has been called the fight or flight. One of the most significant body emergencies is suffocation. Nothing will activate the fight or flight response faster than oxygen deprivation. If you're one of the nearly 100 million Americans dealing with hypertension, you can flood your body with oxygen by practicing deep, slow breathing and quickly enjoy the powerful blood pressure lowering effects of respiration in just a couple of minutes. Get a blood pressure cuff and take a baseline reading. Then spend 120 seconds or so slowly inhaling and exhaling deeply into the belly. Then do another reading. You'll notice an immediate drop in blood pressure and over time, equally significant reduction in all the other symptoms of an activated stress nervous system. Pharmacist Ben here, urging you to go to kscohealth.com to order Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Healthy Start Pack, and other nutritional supplements that I personally use and recommend. You can purchase these premium quality products at wholesale prices online at kscohealth.com. That's kscohealth.com. I'm a pharmacist that believes that staying healthy and strong is not only about medicine, it's about giving your body the raw materials it needs to do its work. Go to kscohealth.com. Make sure you check out the cool videos too at kscohealth.com. That's kscohealth.com.
What part of abuses and usurpations do you not understand? It's the Rob Carson Show.
My friends, glad you made it back. You found the Rob Carson Show. My name is Chris Salcedo. Filling in today, Rob a little under the weather, and it was just advantageous on my own radio show today. I happened to have a conversation with Congressman Jim Jordan, one of the few conservative politicians out there fighting for you, not for the political parties and not for the establishment. Here's how the conversation went. There are very few politicians out there I can say I trust, and here's one of them. Congressman Jim Jordan represents the 4th Congressional District in the great state of Ohio. Mr. Jordan has been an unapologetic conservative, exposing and pushing back on government's abuse of we the people. Congressman, welcome back.
Good to be with you, Chris. I love the intro. Women's liberty, Texas, the USA, God bless America. That was awesome.
Amen, sir. Amen. Look, I want to get your view from 30,000 feet up. I talked with Congressman Nunes yesterday, who now runs Trump Media Group. And he said, you know, one of the observations he made about the Trump indictment was, if you look at it, they say classified information, classified information, classified information, but the statute they're using to prosecute him is a World War I statute that has nothing to do with the mishandling of classified information. True?
Yeah, well, and also the standard is the court case, Navy v. Egan. Unanimous decision, 1988 case, Justice Blackmun wrote the opinion. And it says the president's ability to classify and control access to national security information flows from the Constitution. It's like he has the authority. End of story. He can control however he can classify, declassify. That is up to him. This idea that there's some involvement of the Espionage Act or the Presidential Records Act is baloney. This is the President of the United States, who's the head of the executive branch. He says he classifies this information. He can control what kind of access people have to this information. If he wants to store it in a bathroom on the stage, he can do that, for goodness sake. That is the standard. But these guys, it's all political, as you know, and it's all about trying to get elected involved.
Well, there's a standard that Joe Biden didn't meet, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But as you know, President Trump declassified, it's been published now online, he declassified everything concerning Crossfire Hurricane, and it implicates Joe Biden, it implicates Barack Hussein Obama, it implicates the DOJ and the CIA, and there are some who are theorizing out there, and I just wanted to see what your thought was on this, that the raid on Mar-a-Lago was to get those documents back that had been declassified because they were afraid Trump was going to reveal the complicity and illegality of the Democrats and the infiltrators in the FBI and CIA. What are your thoughts?
I don't know if that's the motive or it's just the general motive. They've been trying to get this guy since 2016 when they used a fake dossier, a dossier they knew was false, to get a warrant to spy on him, someone associated with his campaign, and it's just continued ever since. So I don't know the motive, but I do know whatever the direct motive is, the overall goal is to get president. So much so that the guy they picked, I mean, this Jack Smith, the guy they picked, who Garland picked to be the special counsel, I actually was in a deposition with Jack Smith, 9 years ago, May of 2014. Because Jack Smith, when he worked with the Justice Department then, was looking for ways. It came up in different emails and stuff that we had. He was looking for ways to prosecute the very people who were targeted by Lois Lerner and Barack Obama's IRS. So that's the kind of guy we picked to run this investigation. If it was a more specific motive, I don't know, but I knew the general motive is they've been out to get President Trump from the start. And here's another thing, I think it's so scary, so dangerous. They got his lawyer's note. I mean, the idea that you can break the attorney-client privilege and get access to President Trump's lawyer's handwritten note about the case. I mean, that is not how our system works.
No.
That is so frightening. Any American should be concerned about the fact that they did that to any other American, let alone former president and the guy leading in the polls right now for the 2024 race.
Unconstitutional and unlawful, which defines our political opponents. Congressman Jim Jordan is our guest right now, folks, and let's pivot because CNN and MSNBS and the majority of the biased press, they want to ignore the current occupier of the Oval Office who is accused of selling out this country for foreign cash on multiple occasions. They want to ignore that and they want to pretend the biggest deal is a man who's not in power, not making decisions, not harming the country, President Trump. Biden has, we're told by Senator Chuck Grassley in open floor testimony, there are oligarch tapes out there, tape these conversations, 15 of them with Hunter Biden, 2 of them with Joe Biden. Is the GOP asking the FBI if they have them?
Yes, we want the tapes and we want the 1023 document. We actually want it made public. The American people should have a right to see that. We want it made public in an unredacted form. I didn't even get to read it in a fully unredacted form. There were redactions in the form that, as a member of the committee, when I read it, there were still things redacted. And the thing that jumped out about me is in the report, the confidence of human source. Now, understand that this is a report that the FBI compiled themselves. So they're talking to a source, a credible source, who they've paid for a number of years, paid a lot of money to. This source is talking to them. The FBI put this report together. They put in that report when the source is talking to the foreign national who allegedly has these 17 tapes. The foreign national and the source are talking. The source says, "Hey, you got to stay away from the Biden. President Trump's won the election. You should stay away from." And the the foreign national then says, "Nothing to worry about. There's so many different bank accounts." And he also says, "We never paid the big guy directly."
The big guy.
And that really stuck out to me because that's the second time we've seen the reference to the term "the big guy." The first one was in October of 2020. This was, though, written in June of 2020. So before we ever heard about it in the context of the campaign from that email, we have this. And now we have both the foreign national who's alleged to have paid the Biden the money using the term "big guy," and then the other one that we heard about in October 2020 is an email where it's someone who's a business partner of Hunter Biden. So people on both, people receiving the money have referenced the big guy, people paying the money have referenced the big guy. I think that's significant, and it sort of raises the fundamental question, Chris. If the big guy isn't Joe Biden, who is it?
Who is it?
Tell us who it is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's talk about the FBI running interference because I want to make sure that folks understand this. The Marsha Blackburn and Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley yesterday in the Senate was questioning the deputy FBI director and asking him why he redacted the existence of these recordings, these tapes. Is it true that the FBI tried to hide from Congress the existence of these tapes by redacting their existence in the FD 2023? Is that true?
I don't know because I don't know if that's what's under the redaction. Here's what I do know. The document's not classified. Initially, the FBI would have confirmed that the document even exists. Then they said, well, it does exist, but we're not going to let you see it. Then they said, well, we're going to let the chairman and the ranking member of the oversight committee see it. Then they said, well, I guess we'll let all the committee members see it, but it's going to be seen in a redacted form. And we're saying, no. Let the whole country see it in an unredacted form. The only thing that should be redacted on that form is the name of the source.
Right.
Everything else, let the American people see. After all, it's not classified, for goodness sake. That is how this should play out. The fact that it's not going that way makes us even more suspicious of an FBI who we already have suspicions about.
Yeah, the FBI is mishandling unclassified information. That's what you can say.
Yeah, exactly.
Jim Jordan is our guest right now, folks. 4th Congressional District in the state of Ohio. This oligarch who, you can blame him because he was trying to buy his way into the U.S. government, but allegedly he had a client. He was able to buy off Joe Biden and his cokehead son. Now, many people believe that once this oligarch is identified, that he could be a target for those who don't want this information out there. Is the GOP taking steps to protect the oligarch?
Well, that name in the when I read the report, the 1023, that is redacted. So. Yeah, that's in the report there too. Look, we don't want anyone to get hurt. You certainly don't want a source who's been helpful to our country. You certainly don't want to have to do anything that would jeopardize his safety. We understand that. But by the same token, the American people, we the people, have a right to know what's really going on, particularly with the guy who's the head of our government, the President of the United States. If this stuff, if what's alleged is actually, accurate, that's huge news. That's huge concern. That's a big problem. So that's why we think this needs to be made public with the appropriate redaction of the sources made.
Yeah. And I think it's disgusting of the conduct of the press, to be honest with you, Congressman, as they focus on a man who is not making decisions in government right now. That's the main story. And they're willing to ignore the man who is sitting in the Oval Office. And we're told it's the seriousness of the charge. But it's only the seriousness of the charge when it applies to a Republican. When there's a serious charge against a Democrat, they ignore it. And I think they ought to be called out on that. Let me go through this. It's a laundry list, but you're going to see where I'm going with this. The DOJ, the FBI, we know that even though the FBI had